Sleep is certainly a player who likes to switch things up every now and again as well. So we'll see what he has offered here. The map is Cloud Kingdom, though, and here we go. Take it away.
All right, guys. Here on Cloud Kingdom, Sleep is our green Zerg player spawning at the bottom portion. And he's going up against his opponent from Team SCV Life. He is Symbol, and he is the red Zerg. So we are sticking with these Christmas colors, which is just so festive. We are in the spirit right now.
Aww.
It's encroaching on us in a good way, I guess I would say.
Yeah. Well, today is actually the last day of November, isn't it?
Oh, it's so
this year has gone by so quick. What, 20 days till the end of the world or something? I don't know.
Yeah, so yeah, make this count. I mean, tell everybody you know you need to watch this StarCraft because this is a great tournament. You don't want to miss it before the world ends.
That's right. This may be the last one ever.
It really could.
Oh, man. Well, I feel privileged to be here casting with you alongside for this match. So.
Oh, me too, me too.
Oh, I thank you. Aren't we so loving here at the IPL? Don't you guys love us? So now we are on Cloud Kingdom. This is a map that can favor a variety of different builds. You can swing from the extreme of early pools all the way up into strong Roach Infestor mid-game attacks. The cool part about going for strong Roach Infestor on this map is the amount of high ground that's actually accessible. You can defend it pretty easily in between your natural and your third with a couple of Infestors that are watching these ramps. But then in the middle of the map, too, you have another set of high ground. So actually, even though you can be extended very far on the map, you can still find yourself defender's advantage just due to the terrain.
Yeah, Cloud Kingdom is a map that is very, very much about space control, and considering how many ramps there are on this map, and every aggressive path is going to find you going up or down a ramp at some point, it's very easy to hold with Fungals if you're in the right position. So Infestor play is definitely the dynamite choice on this map, I agree.
All right, so both players starting with a 15 pool to begin things, dropping down at exactly the same time, so nothing really to differentiate these guys quite yet, but I'll be curious to see what they move into here in just a bit. I'm especially looking at Sleep. Symbol is likely to move into some sort of a Roach Infestor play as the game goes along. He tends to value those a little bit quicker. He could certainly open for mutas, but this is not necessarily the optimal map right away. You can do some dancing here in between these couple of bases and poking into the main and such, but there's pretty good vision and not many flying paths actually around the outside of these bases for mutas.
Yeah, it is one of the differences between these players. Sleep characteristically does prefer muta play, sometimes going for those fast spires. But yeah, in Cloud Kingdom, there just isn't a lot of room to maneuver, and that is the best thing about mutas. You need to maneuver them, you need to retain them, and you need to get those numbers up to a point where your opponent he can't just counterattack with roaches and win because you only have 5 mutas, stuff like that. So Sleep, not necessarily out of his comfort zone, but he might, be forced to counter his opponent, play reactively.
All right, well, we'll see what both these players do here in just a bit. But once again, everything is basically mirrored. We had slightly earlier gas for Sleep. Symbols came up just a second later, but hatcheries are going to finish pretty equally. Looks like Symbol just a few seconds ahead.
Yeah, both these guys, of course, getting those pool first means they're going to have those early hatcheries. We saw Sleep go for that aggressive play in the last game, make tons of lings, very sneaky about it. Yeah, I definitely like that you pointed out. He hid those lings, and it was kind of a surprise to Symbol. Symbol held amazingly, so I don't know if he'll be going for the same sort of thing again.
Yeah, I mean, Symbol would have... I don't want to say he would have been fine without seeing those or anything like that, but, he was able to pick up on those with the Overlords at the very least, and he was already prepared with Baneling, so it wouldn't have come as too big of a shock to him, even if he hadn't had the Overlords around. He would have still been able to defend, even though he may have lost a couple of additional drones. Not saying he would end up winning the game, but he wasn't in the worst of positions. Baneling Nest coming up for both players now. I'm actually a little bit surprised on the position of the Baneling Nest. More and more people are dropping them down out towards the front, especially when you go hatch first, because then you can stick a queen or a spine crawler behind. You can actually guard the amount of surface area that's actually accessible there and hide that spine crawler in quite effectively.
Yeah, it's interesting to see these new sort of metagame things pop up, just like in ZvT, where people are starting to get the double Evo chambers at the front and stick queens in there to deny the Hellions.
Yeah.
You see the Baneling Nest up at the front, because you don't need to hide the Baneling Nest. It's no secret that you're going to get a Baneling Nest in ZvZ. You just need it to survive pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen players that have tried to get around that, especially as players have been a little bit more greedy with their tech, going up to additional gas, playing a bit more defensive. Some people have been trying to bypass that Baneling phase, but it's always so difficult to watch a Zerg player that doesn't prepare for Banelings and then tries to just skip straight up into Roaches, something along those lines, and even with the nice walls up at the front with Evolution Chambers, just get crushed.
Baneling's just so dangerous, so one of the worst things to be unprepared for. You've got to have very, very stellar micro to be able to deal with Banelings without Banelings of your own. We're going to see a quick lair here for Sleep, and he's going to be pushing across the few links, but he's going to get caught by the superior ling numbers of Symbol.
Yeah, so Symbol, once again, on top of the aggression that comes out, or really the scouting links that come out of Sleep there. What has each player seen, though? Sleep really hasn't seen a lot, and he's got one Overlord here he can sacrifice in a few seconds if he wants to. It's about that time. But he actually doesn't have anything back at home now to defend against these links, and he does take the loss of, looks like one drone there, but actually holds that, pretty effectively.
Yeah, only making a single Baneling, and Queens and Lings will be able to clean this up. And one of the characteristics of a good Zerg player in any matchup is restraint, making as many units as you need to defend to get that that drone. What's the word I'm looking for? That drone superiority, that good drone count to get that economy, because the Zerg is the macro race. ZvZ is no exception. You still want as many drones as you can. It's just a little bit more scary. And taking a look at things, Symbol, he didn't actually do that much damage with the amount of Zerglings he made, but he did turn it into an effective scout. He's got perfect vision of what his opponent is doing. He knows the exact timing of lair, so he should know what's hitting. And Sleep is actually going to move up into an infestation pit. Symbol, on the other hand, he has not really been all that revealed. Sleep doesn't really have an idea as to what's going on. He doesn't know that the Roach Warren's coming up later. He doesn't know that the infestation pit's coming up later, so we'll see how that affects things going forward. But both players are pretty even in terms of overall worker count. Yeah, with that lair being finished, of course, he can make an overseer. Looks like, in fact, it did just finish, so he can move in and scout, and he will, of course, with that changeling, be able to see the lair, sees the Roach Warren and everything. So he knows it's kind of the same game right now, and that's obviously a case in a lot of the mirror matchups, and especially in this game where both players are going for that Roach Infestor, which is so effective on this map.
And, the Changeling saw the cancel of the infestation pit. That is fantastic. And now Symbol's got to be kicking himself. He just killed the Changeling, so he knew it was one, so he knows that the cancel was just revealed. So how is Sleep going to react to that now? Yeah,
what do you do in that case? You have a couple choices. I mean, it looks like he is taking his third, so he's going to have to play defensive because he knows without infestors, and at least with them delayed, he's not even remaking the infestation pit at this point. So it looks like he's going to get away from them altogether. He's going to deny Sleep space here a little bit, but he's got to be so worried about any kind of attack from Sleep because infestors just make an army so much more effective.
I like the Changeling. He was actually on attack command there, and it was just bumping into the Baneling, but not really doing anything. It's kind of amusing to me. Anyway, Sleep finishing up Pathogen Glands now, starting his first infestors and his third base, but of course Symbol's third base is very nearly finished, but he's produced nothing but roaches, nothing at all. No higher tech on the way, not even using an infestation pit as a gateway into Hive, just sitting back for the time being and accumulating a massive force. There we go, infestation pit's coming up now again, but it's been very delayed.
Yeah, that's got to be a real face palm for Symbol. So he's in a very uncomfortable position at this point. The infestors are going to be popping out very soon here for Sleep. Of course, they will be pathogen glands enabled, which means they will have that energy for the fungal growth. We're going to see Lings try to come in here, but a couple Banelings back is good enough to deny that, and the Lings have already run back. Oh, he might be able to pick off an infestor here. That would be nice, and yeah, he does.
Wow. Okay, so we just turned that into a big thing because he got the perfect timing on when infestors were popping out, and he manages to snag one of them. Looks like that was the only one that used energy, so he didn't, force any other infestors to lose their energy, but still ended up working out pretty well. And Symbol is going to decide to just go for it, at least for now.
Yeah, killing the infestor might have prompted this push. He knows it's one less fungal growth, and in this situation, that does mean a lot. He's going to be coming up this ramp. He's got to be so careful about those fungals. Looks like the roach numbers are pretty even right now, but the fungals going down, doing really good damage. Both these guys do have their +1 completed. We have a lot of roaches here for Symbol, though, and if he can get on top of these infestors, he can really even this up.
Yeah, and he's actually taken out all the energy from the infestor, so no more threat of fungal growth whatsoever. The upgrade 0-1 now for Symbol, 0-1 for Sleep, and because of the shorter reinforcement distance, Symbol is going to get moved back. He actually was carrying about a 20 supply lead through the beginning of that engagement, but did lose quite a good portion of that as the time went along.
Yeah, just very hard to break up ramps with those infestors on the field, and pushing forward a little bit prematurely here. He's got to wait for his reinforcements. Now going to come up again, and it's just roach on roach. The numbers looking very good for both these players. Oh, can he possibly get the hatchery?
Wow, it looks like he may just decide to suicide the rest of his units here in just a second. What does Sleep actually have coming to defend this? A bunch of additional roaches, yes, but they're actually not on the field quite yet. There we go, finally starting to make their way in. Looks like a couple of his infestors did end up dying in the process, but he saves the hatch, and he whittles down this roach number once again. And don't forget, this tech has been incredibly delayed for Symbol, so his pathogen glands are finishing up, but of course he has no infestors on the field.
Yeah, we're seeing at this point, he is just a bit behind. So Symbol is now going for those pathogen glands, and Sleep has already finished Burrow. So he's just a step ahead in tech because of that cancel, and it should remain that way. There's no reason for Sleep to allow Symbol to get ahead in any portion of this game, and now he knows he's taken out so many roaches. He's going to work on the third of his opponent. No infestors with this army, but of course the defender's advantage should be enough to knock him back.
Yeah, and Symbol is going to chase this army away. That pathing, it always makes you so nervous, as that could have been a lost roach pretty easily. We do have an update in the rest of the bracket. Pult did defeat Creator 2-0. So Pult going to make his way through. There's only one more Protoss player remaining in the winner's bracket.
Oh, so we can always hope that Pult and Stefano will meet and the rivalry will thrive on.
That's right.
So many good matches.
Stefano going into this weekend saying that he didn't feel like he was in the best of shape, did not expect much from him, but he seemed in good spirits when I talked to him earlier, so I think things are going at least a little bit better for him, and we certainly wish him the best in the tournament. As, we talk about players that we're biased for, Hyun being one of them, but you remember back at IPL 3, Stefano kind of made a name for himself by winning our tournament.
Yeah, it was a big break.
And we just found out that Stefano was knocked out just now in this round.
My hopes have been dashed. Oh my goodness, so cruel.
Oh, sad stuff.
Well, it's not like there's not a wealth of good matches still ahead, so one less rivalry is okay. It's still going to be an amazing tournament.
All right, well, we'll see here now what Symbol does. He's sharking around the map, picking off changelings, creep tumors, just little things. Sleep, though, has started to amass himself a very formidable force. Symbol had his advantages in this game. He went up to a third base quicker, but he made a couple of weird decisions. He threw away a lot of roaches trying to go after this hatchery, which is still alive and kicking. And don't forget, there was a moment when he significantly delayed his infestor tech. He canceled it, which would have been a good move, except for the fact that there was a changeling sitting right there and picked up on it, so it actually gained him nothing.
Yeah, generally when you're trying to be sneaky, your opponent seeing it is going to limit its effectiveness very well. But he's sending a few roaches here, and it looks like this hatchery is going to go down, so that's a good snipe there for Symbol. But is he going to be able to deal with this army that's about to knock on his third base's front door?
Sleep has a big decision to make right now, because if he goes for it and he loses the engagement or he draws even, then he's dead. He needs to be able to put pressure on this hatchery and maybe even just outright take it out.
Yeah, this is going to be very tough. The infestors. He manages to fungal one of the infestors there, but is he going to be able to take it out? There's a good fungal landed on those roaches, and looks like he is going to go for this engagement, dropping a lot of infested Terrans to add that DPS. They do, of course, benefit from that +2 range as well, and the numbers are looking pretty good, but those fungals are beautiful for Symbol.
Yeah, they've been really, really good, and at the same time, Sleep actually didn't pull most of his forces from the back that were sitting there and just kind of hanging out, but Symbol is slowly losing this fight up at the front. He has a few more roaches that are reinforcing, and Sleep is actually going to back off, and if he backs off right now, he's actually going to concede the production advantage to his opponent because his own third is down and out at the moment.
Yeah, he's remaking that. We see Symbol is getting a Hydra Den, so he's gearing up for that style he really, really likes. High DPS, very bulky army that's going to be able to push, and once this push starts, Sleep is not going to have a lot to deal with it.
Okay, so Symbol now. Let's actually just take a look at the overall army count. So Symbol is down in overall infestors, 6 to 11. A few more just popping out now for Sleep. He is up in overall roach count, but, truthfully, he's about the same in workers. So things are a little bit different for our players, but after all of that, they have kind of remained remarkably even.
Yeah, Symbol's not going to wait for his Hydras here. He's going to be pushing with the Roach Infestor right now. And nice fungal catches a couple of roaches there. He is getting that Hydra range, so he's still looking for a later attack. He's just going to try to keep Sleep on his toes. But again, these ramps, these fungals, it's just so hard to get a good engagement when you're the attacker.
And Symbol's just lost, like another 7 or 8 roaches there for no loss whatsoever for Sleep. Yeah, you had to use some energy to get that done, but that's well worth it. Oh, and it looks like a few roaches did actually sneak inside of the main, popping up through the third at the same time. Have they really done that much damage, though? Looks like only 3 workers have actually been killed this entire game, which is kind of staggering to think about.
Yeah, usually in ZvZ there's a lot of back and forth, and it usually involves a lot of killed workers, but in this case, both players have been looking for that mid to late game aggression. We still don't see any Hydras added in by Symbol yet, I don't believe. It's just pure Roach Infestor at this point. And now Sleep is maxed out. He's breaking down those rocks, and he might be looking to engage.
There we go. 9 Hydras are popping up right now. Basically, as soon as you say it naturally. So we just had to call it, and things would happen. So these 4 roaches are still burrowed down to the bottom right-hand corner. As soon as a big engagement happens, Symbol's going to go right over there, pop those up, and have them start doing damage because they're dead weight unless they can do some economic damage around the back.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing there for Symbol if he can distract his opponent and just... If he mismicros a little bit and suddenly gets caught in a bad fungal, that is just so bad for this battle. Looks like he's being aggressive here. He's forcing Symbol back, but Symbol is going to have these Hydras added into his army. Wow, nice fungal there on the retreat.
All right, well, these roaches still haven't popped up yet. Sleep even burrowing a few of his own roaches here directly underneath his opponent's army so we can keep a little bit of tabs on it and see at least where it's at. And Sleep and Symbol are both about maxed out, but now Symbol's going up to another base. A ton of resources banked for Sleep at the moment, so when the fight actually does end up happening, he can reinforce very, very quickly, and it looks like he is going to engage this here with a little bit of a defender's advantage up at the top. But once again, the fungals for Symbol have been devastatingly accurate.
Yeah, such good damage. It looks like the roaches have not done anything yet in the main. Sleep doing his best to hold the top of this ramp, but Symbol's just doing a really good job doing so much damage on that high ground from the low ground.
And he still hasn't popped up these burrowed roaches. I'll keep waiting for them to get up there and start doing some economic damage. Looks like that Hydralisk Den for Sleep is actually on the way, but he's quite a bit behind in Hive Tech, which is now finishing for Symbol. That's a full 100 seconds behind if he would start it right now.
Yeah, these roaches are kind of like the banelings we saw in Bomber versus Slivko, where Slivko had these banelings in just excellent positions, and he never did anything with them. And the roaches, this is just such a good time to start distracting his opponent in the midst of this attack. And now he's coming up the left side, reinforcements coming up as well, and Symbol is just trying to figure out where to defend.
Okay, well, we'll see, if Sleep is able to execute this. He's actually wanting to attack from 3 sides. He may drop Infested Terrans around the top, but he is going to start engaging these roaches at the bottom at the same time that he moves over into this base. He's actually not going to use fungal growth at all, just purely using Infested Terrans. The Infested Terrans themselves actually getting fungled there for a second, so that allows Symbol to actually tear through them very quickly and allows him to gain some sort of a foothold here at the top. And I think that was a terrible engagement for Sleep. He's actually being pushed back at all angles.
Yeah, again, for Sleep, a lot of his roaches weren't fighting. They were just kind of bumping against the roaches in the front line, and you just can't have that. Not with these Hydras out. There's too much damage being dealt. You need every second of your roaches firing. Symbol has about a 20 supply lead now, and he is going to be pushing that army back, and the only thing that Sleep has going for him is maybe his Infestors will escape.
Yeah, he did also kill a few additional units here because Symbol is a little slow to bring everything to the front, but really we're talking about a very small gain for him because now he's down. Look at his army, 32 roaches to 6.
Oh boy.
He does have an advantage in overall Hydralisk count, but he has no way to buffer them, and they are very, very squishy.
Yeah, they are not good. They are not frontline fighters. They fire from the back. The glass cannons. Symbol coming up here now, dropping those Infested Terrans. Hydra's able to clean them up quickly, and he has a good concave here on the top of the ramp. He's dealing as much damage as he can, but the Hydra's taking fungals, and Symbol's supply lead might be insurmountable here.
It was. That was still a good engagement for Sleep. That was about as good as he could have expected. The Hydra sat back. The damage is actually being buffered by Infested Terrans, but even with that, you see that it's just not quite enough to continue pushing this forward as now the Hydras of Symbol start to make their way up. He does have a lot of dead weight and extra Infestors, which don't have a ton of energy on them, so Sleep may be able to hold this attack, but even if he can, he would actually be out of this game. There it is, GG.
And GG in a 2-0 for Symbol there as he takes out Sleep, so his ZvZ is just really top-notch.